Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Kinderhook, New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your hosts, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Walk on Wednesday. Walk on Wednesday is the day that we invite a special guest on. But before we do that, Kaustubha, Mara, good morning. Any announcements going on today we should know about?
Yeah, we do have announcements. There's asana class with Trevor Vaughn at 8 a.m. for our Patreon members. Back to recovery group at 1 o'clock. Nityananda Chandra's Gita Shloka study group at 8 p.m. And are you doing Sweet Baby Krishna this evening, Raghu?
Sweet Baby Krishna tonight at 8:30.
All right.
We're winding down. I read yesterday. I read from my book yesterday, and I appreciate everybody listening, giving me feedback. I also want to share that we have a picnic coming up. If you didn't know, if you're interested in the picnic that's happening this weekend, Sunday, it's a little informal get together. It's a meet and greet, so you can meet all these people that you see every day, and we're going to even meet some of those mysterious others are signing up. Who knows who they are, but they're going to show up, and it's going to be in Central Park. And to get info on it, you have to get into a secret club, and you have to email us here at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com and put picnic in the subject bar. And then you got to give us your phone number, and we're going to text you the treasure map of how to get there. And we use that in case there's a rain delay or we have to move it or something like that. We text message you. And then there's a rain. The rain, even if it rains, we're going to go down to the Bhakti Center and hang out there. And that's all set up.
And people are asking about the exact location, but we're going to figure out how many people are coming before we determine the exact location. That's why
we like to keep secrets here at Wisdom of the Sages and keep you on the edge of your seat. In case any other people want to come that we don't want to come.
Okay.
You understand how we do that?
Another thing was yesterday the first Sage page came out, the newsletter.
Yeah. And good job, Kaustubha.
You're happy with it?
Yeah.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So, that came out with, it had different highlights from last week's show, different points, takeaways, things to walk away with, plus announcements and some, it was just kind of full of info, right?
Yeah, just chock full of little info. It's our first one, so we're working on it. We're getting it better, trying to get it better each time. But thanks for everybody involved, especially Kaustubha, who did that.
And so if people want that, they can write. What do you do? You write to Wisdom of the Sages?
No, you go to Wisdom of the Sages.
Yeah, you
go to
wisdomofthesages.com
and sign up for our mailing list.
That's right. It's the first thing that comes up when you go to the website is a thing. Or otherwise, it's down at the bottom of the homepage. You can sign up for the Sage page.
Sign up for the Sage page, and then you get it. And then you're automatically enrolled in our Arranged Marriage Tuesday, so it'll be good for everybody. All right. Today we have a special guest. It's Dustin. Dustin's an old student of mine who runs an incredible tattoo shop in Albany, New York called Dead President's Lounge. His incredible wife, an old student of mine as well, Meg, and she runs Jai Yoga School in Albany. I love to go there as much as I can. Dustin, he's got a great story. Welcome to the show, Dustin.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Grab that mic, put it right to your mouth, kiddo.
You can't hear me now?
Now
That's
I
better.
can. Yeah.
All right. Good
Dustin.
morning.
Good morning, Dustin.
Dustin, you want to talk about your transformation? Because, you were a hardcore guy, but you weren't exactly the straight edge guy. What was your transformation like, and then your Bhakti transformation and et cetera like that?
I think it all kind of happened at once. Yeah, I definitely wasn't like a straight edge hardcore guy. I was like the opposite of that. I was it would be a cliche to say that I ate a bunch of mushrooms and then decided to come to Bhakti, but that's kind of how it happened.
What is it with mushroom? Everybody
I don't
had
know
a
what
positive
the
mushroom
was. Should I
experience.
even
No.
leave that out?
Not everyone.
I don't know.
But hold that
Yeah.
mic up to your in front of your
Yeah.
mouth, because it's.
Then you're getting my chin here.
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay, let's see.
It's all right.
Visually not so great, but hopefully.
Yeah, on camera, sort of interesting.
All right. No one look at the YouTube video of this. So my story, I had a girlfriend for a long time, and she was holding me back from partying more than I wanted to.
Yeah, those girlfriends really get in the way of a good party, I find.
So when we separated, broke up, I just went off the rails. I was partying every day, and it was like, no one is the boss of me. I can do whatever I want. And that went on for like 3 months. But and then one morning I woke up, and I had this like total like experience where I was just like, I need to go to India. Right? And it was probably the mushrooms talking, but
Maybe it was a previous life thing.
yeah, it was something. I remember even like spots of like, hey, you should be a yogi kind of thing, like seeing the sadhus. And I even like got to chill them so I could smoke pot like those Shiva sadhus smoked pot. And I was like, I want dreadlocks. Like it was totally materialistic and just outrageous. But it was like little hints like that. And so I listened to it this time, and I was like, I have to change my life. And I got that book, Meat is for Pussies.
Yeah,
Okay.
John
And,
Joseph.
Yeah, John Joseph book. And in the back of that, if you sent him $1 and a self-addressed envelope, he would send you the perfection of yoga.
Oh, wow.
He never sent it. I sent the $1. But I ordered it off Amazon or something. I ended up getting it, and when I made that step, I feel like everything stepped into place. Like
So that's a small book, if you don't know, by Prabhupada.
Yeah, very small.
The Perfection of Yoga. It was a little book he wrote, I think, in the 60s or 50s or something. Or no, it's an
I think they
excerpt
just
of his
made it-
lecture, right?
Yeah, they made it out of a lecture. It's just,
I'm sorry.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you got that book?
I
Got the
that
book. You're on drugs. You got that book.
and then still on drugs, reading that book, and then I stopped doing drugs, still drinking, got the journey home, and this is all like within a week. Like this is like boom, boom, boom happening, and then
Then you got the journey
this-
home. Okay.
I don't even know where I got the idea to get that, but I did, and I found a picture of a guy doing a handstand on a rock in the middle of a stream, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Who's this guy? On Facebook. It was Raghunath.
There you go.
There I
Googled him.
go. Those handstands in the stream photos really draw them in.
Oh man, it got me because I thought yoga was for girls, and I didn't need to do that. I was a hardcore kid, but I wanted to do it. But it justified me going to yoga classes. So I emailed him and I was like, I want to go to India, because he had the thing that said trips to India. It was perfect. And he goes, this is great. Someone just canceled. We leave in a week. And I said, that's too soon. And so I signed up for the next trip, and then I doubled down on my yoga practice. I started taking privates with Meg, my now wife.
Oh, okay.
Marry the yoga teacher trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Where is
helped.
Meg?
Riding her coattails since then. And then I went to India, met Raghu, and it was smooth sailing from then.
All right.
When I went to India, I was like, I bet there's no beer there. I'm gonna go sober for a month so I don't have like withdrawal or something. That was my
Wow.
Oh, you mean
conscious-
like before you went?
Yeah.
To India, you
before.
went sober for a month.
And then I got back and I started drinking again, and I hated it. But like I did it out of routine and like the circle of friends I had, like or have. And then I stopped again. I was like, I'm gonna do that for another month. And then I went right back to India on his next trip. So I was like, better sober up again. And then I came back that time, had a beer, and I was like, no, I don't like this anymore. And it literally just clicked off for me like
Wow.
that. It was so easy.
Wow, you didn't even try to get rid of the negative. You just added the positive.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I forgot that you came back to India like that. The first time without Meg, and the second time, I think you and Meg were sort of an item.
Yeah. Yep.
That was great. I remember it now too. The first time you came, where did we go?
We went, oh man, it was the best trip ever. We went to Jagannath Puri, and that was the trip that Raghunath Swami came with us the whole time.
Yeah, that was quite amazing. And Krishna Das did 2 private concerts for us.
Yeah.
That was a magical trip.
It really was. Like I remember saying to someone, this India place is crazy. Literally anything you want, if it's in a spiritual context, you get.
It's really true.
Like
it's really true.
The Krishna Das thing is so cool, but I really wish it was the Mayapuris. Within 2 days, I was watching the Mayapuris play live.
That's right. The Mayapuris did a private thing for us too. That was amazing. Anyway, so now he runs an incredible tattoo shop.
He does some really great kind of like Vedic art kind of stuff too. I've seen you. You're really talented, Dustin.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Prabhu, was there like a moment that sort of like your spiritual life clicked in? Your yoga life. I mean, you were like a heavy drinker. You were out of shape, and you just like changed your diet. You became a strict vegan, I think. And then, was there a spiritual like click for you? Was there a moment, or was it a gradual thing?
I think it was all that moment with India. Like it was always just like, boom. And the path I went on, it made it so easy. So like, just having that spiritual Krishna consciousness, and then having you, and then Raghunath Swami, and I even met Kaustubha on that trip.
I remember.
And I remember I was like, oh, he looks mean, like who's this guy?
Mean.
Yeah, he does look a little
coming out
mean
of the
sometimes.
eco village every once in a while, because I think you're editing Raghunath Swami's second book.
Yeah.
And you just appear, and then you knew my name, and I was like, how does he know my name? And then you turn out to be the sweetest man ever.
Very sweet.
I remember that trip. I remember that Raghunath Swami was on some deadline, and I was leading a group.
Yeah.
But both Raghunath and I were leading separate groups at the same time, and we were all at the Eco Village. But Maharaj just kind of like made me drop the whole group and edit his book at that time. And I think Raghunath kind of took over my group or something like that at that time.
That was a special year.
Yeah.
So
I miss you, Dustin. It's been a long time.
Yeah. It's
Got to come to the picnic. Come on down.
He's coming to Boston Saturday, so we're gonna hang on Saturday. But maybe you can break away. They had a little. How old's your little baby now?
4.
Okay, no, that's a little.
Bring the kid.
Bring the kids.
I think Mara ought to go to Dustin's for that tattoo when she's ready for it.
That back piece she's been talking about.
The big huge back piece. We haven't figured out what it is yet.
We're gonna figure it out that day. We're taking votes. Everybody can put on the Zoom board today what Mara's back piece should be, and the most we get then we'll offer it up, and then we'll give Papa Tony the final decision, and then she'll get it. How about that?
We could
Mara?
just put them all like in a hat and then just pull out like one.
Yes, let's just do it like that. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Prabhu. It's always good to hear people's journey home. Dead President's Lounge in Albany is the tattoo shop. Jai Yoga School, Meg runs, Dustin teaches at. Great place. I think I'm going to go there and do a kirtan soon. And I miss you guys so much. Are you an other out there?
I am the biggest other, and I feel like this is the weirdest way to be an unother. Like everyone's looking at me right now. I can't even sneak in.
Yeah. Everyone's like, who is this guy? We don't know him. Yeah, this is a very exclusive group, this Zoom gang. They're very particular who we allow in here, but I give you the golden ticket, everybody. This very special person here. Please welcome him into Zoom. Give him a shout out on the board, please. Make him feel welcome. He's no stranger. Yeah, you can give him a little Jesus Mudra. Do the Jesus Mudra on Zoom.
All right, he's in. He's one of us.
All right.
Gabba Gabba, we accept you.
All right, let's dive into this sweet Krishna. Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Haribo.
Hare
Chai Yoga School, Dead President's Lounge. Great people. We have a great, every day I go, I have so many great people in my life. I really do. I have great people in my life.
Yeah.
Kaustubha, I'm really just going through a lot of transition right now, as a lot of you know. A lot of transition, and there's every reason to be fearful. There's thousands of reasons to be fearful, and I'm just choosing not to be fearful. I'm just choosing that. I'm using our secret mantra. Krishna's got a plan. Krishna's got a plan. Sweet babies, Krishna's got a plan. That's the mantra. You ever in doubt? You ever going through stuff? That's the mantra.
Right.
It really works.
It seems to be working. You seem happy. You're going with it.
Seems to be working. Let's see.
I miss Dustin. Dustin's like one of these guys. He looks like a biker or something like that, but
Looks like a
he's just
biker. He's like a
sweet-
transcendentalist.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
You did his wedding, right? You were his priest.
I was his priest.
You could
I
put on
haven't
your
done many
nicest
weddings, but the people I
clothes.
have, they're all great. Damodar Sarup and Radha Prithia did their wedding, and Rachel and Jeff, I did their wedding, and Dustin and Meg, I did their wedding. Available for weddings, everybody.
That's
Available
why you're
for
so
weddings.
into arranged weddings, because you just wanted to. You just.
Well, I
like
arranged
playing
all
around.
of those. They didn't even know who they were marrying. I just pulled a cloth off the bride's head and said, "This is what you got."
Well,
Just
so
kidding.
far you're batting 1,000. It's working. It's working
Yeah,
out.
so far so good. All right.
You ready?
Canto 3.
Yeah, chant your mantras.
Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respects at their lotus feet. Reading from the third canto. Chapter 15, Description of the Kingdom of God. Love that title. We're just going to describe the Kingdom of God in case you were curious. And we are in text
I think we got up to 22 yesterday.
22. Mara, what episode is this? Where are we in this world?
And we're getting up
Episode
there.
485.
485. Where the hell are we going to be on 500?
But it's like 2 weeks away. We got to figure out. Maybe we should like take suggestions what we should do for the show.
Kateri said
episode
we
number
should come to
500.
her beach house or lake house.
Okay, I mean that's
500 on a lake.
But
begin.
for the show, like what do we do on the show? Yeah, think about that. Maybe have a special guest. I don't know. Maybe bring on lots of guests.
I'm confused. Yeah, I'm not sure.
We'll think about it. If anyone's got any suggestions, send them in.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's dive into this sweet pot of nectar juice. Text 20 or 22, you said?
No, we got up to text 22.
Alrighty.
And I think we're on text 23. And now these three next texts. So what's happening here is that the whole DT pregnancy thing has had a universal kind of negative effect already, right? It's just like even before they're born, there's like kind of this darkness is spread throughout the universe. And the devas, the gods, they've come to Lord Brahma, who's kind of like their leader.
Mm.
And they're saying, what's going on? Help us understand this. And he's going into he's like saying, he's like not worried about it, apparently. He's not like just, worried like they are. He's just like, well, sit down. Let me tell you a little story. Right.
Tell you a little story how this
Yeah.
works.
So like the kids that DT, that DT's carrying in her womb right now, I'm going to give you the backstory on them. And let's talk about what my sons, the four Kumars, they were wandering around and they wandered to Vaikuntha, right? The gates of Vaikuntha. And then he starts to give this whole description of Vaikuntha, which is is like a tangent he went off on.
Mm.
But that tangent was beautiful, and it was the first description that we get of the spiritual realm, which is, which it's, this world is like a reflection of. We get to hear about what that's like, and we heard some of the principles that are, applying in that world, some of the principles that make that world what it is. And we heard there that, no one has any separate agenda there, right? Everybody's kind of centered with love. Rather than trying to serve their own senses and everyone competing, everyone's serving the root of all existence. They're serving Lord Vishnu, and their happiness is coming through that Dharma, right? It's like somehow that Dharma, like, it generates tremendous spiritual happiness. And so everyone there is experiencing that. And now in these next 3 verses, it's going to kind of explain, like, what qualifies one to pass through that gate, to enter it, to step out of the virtual reality into reality, and what disqualifies one.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
You like that?
What qualifies you to enter that gate?
Yeah, so first we're going to hear what disqualifies one. And that's text 23. And this relates a lot to, like, the kind of stuff that you talk about on the show, Raghu.
Yeah. What do I talk about?
Well, you talk about, like, what we hear, what we choose to consume, through our eyes, through our ears.
Yeah, that's sort of my thing.
You get into that a lot, and so, but I can see why, because it's
relevant to reality.
Yeah. Because if you're not careful about that, you may disqualify yourself from stepping out of the illusion into the reality, into the blissful reality. And so, text 23 is going to describe that right now.
It is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss the description of the Vaikuntha planets, but engage in topics which are unworthy to hear and which bewilder one's intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Those who give up the topics of the Vaikuntha, and take to talk of the material world are thrown into the darkest regions of ignorance. There it is, everybody.
There it is.
There it is. This is what makes us, it's the sound vibration that is the most transformative. I mean, a lot of us do yoga. It changes our life. It changes our body. We feel like a new person. Then we add some strict pranayama to our life. It changes our consciousness. It changes our immune system. It makes us feel a little detached from the body and the mind. And then you add sound. That's the refinement. It's the pranayama that refines the asana. First of all, it's the asana that refines our life. It's the pranayama that refines our asana. And it's the mantras that refine our pranayama and ultimately refine everything. It's the mantras or the sounds that are leaving our mouth on a regular basis that makes us feel at peace in this world or makes us feel bound up on this world. And it seems like, how can that be? But we know that if you speak good things, positive things, uplifting things, transcendental things, things shift. Your vision shifts. The way you relate to people shift. Your good fortune shifts. People want to be around you more. When you start criticizing, when you find fault with people, when you just glorify activities that keep you in bondage, that creates a whole world for you. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. When we read this verse, like that last sentence of the verse, those who give up topics of Vaikuntha, right? Like, I've given up hearing Bhagavatam, hearing Vedic literature, and who take to talk of the material world. Okay, well, that's pretty much most people. And then then it gets real dark, right?
Unless there's people walking down the street and talking about Vaikuntha right now.
Yeah. And then it says they're thrown into the darkest region of ignorance. And that sounds like, okay, come on, do you have to hit me with that, like, fire and brimstone kind of, like...
The darkest of ignorance.
But, just as I read that, I was thinking, well, what does that look like? And I was just thinking, we were talking yesterday about this, like all that stuff that happened after that football match over the weekend, in London.
Yeah.
And you could just see, and like, if you saw the videos, here's guys that are they're in the darkest region of ignorance. Right? It's like
it's safe to say.
Right? They're screaming and they're violent against people that that are their brothers.
Shirts on, that have different shirts on.
Yeah. It's like that's bewilderment. That's a deep level bewilderment. And the karmic, consequences of those actions, are severe.
By the way, some people just don't take soccer as seriously as a lot of people take it.
Apparently.
Do you know that? We once did it. I didn't understand soccer, football, whatever you call it, how important it is to a lot of people. So I remember we went to Brazil one year on tour, and these guys take it dead serious. They're playing like on the highway medium, they take their team serious, their state serious. And so one show we played in Santos, we all wore different football club shirts. We thought, hey, we're going to represent Brazil here. I tell you,
that was
they
the wrong move.
Tar and feathered us. It was not cool. I wore a Sao Paulo shirt in Santos. I almost got killed. Oh, man. They take it dead serious. What if you just say, you know what? I didn't know what I was wearing. I like the colors. I thought it were pretty colors, and they almost killed me for that.
Yeah. But it's a fact, though. But, just seriously, right? Like, you give up hearing topics that uplift you. And you absorb, what these guys, what kind of topics are they listening to and discussing, right? They're watching all these stupid movies about football hooligans, like England churns them out like left and right, and in their mind, you get this false idea of what manhood is, about what it means to be cool, about what it means to be really, it's just trying to usurp Krishna's opulences, being powerful, being influential, being cool, being attractive. And you get this bizarre idea of what it means, and you start to behave based in that false ego, right? That false identity, and you just go deeper and deeper into darkness.
Yeah.
And then you end up like, like I was saying, like to me, like that's really dark, where you're just like full of rage and hate for no reason at all, and lashing out against your brothers, and then the karmic, reaction to that. The consequences of that get still darker, and then all that energy starts to get thrown back at you, So, when I read that, I don't see it as like, oh God, they're throwing this like, they're trying to throw some kind of threat at me or something like that.
The fire and brimstone threat. You create fire and brimstone, the darkest regions.
Yeah, you bring it on.
When you talk about the darkest regions of hell, a lot of us have been there. It's not some like fiery planet with a little guy with a pitchfork. You've created hell on earth many times. A lot of us have been there, lived there. Dustin just said he was there, practically speaking. He saved himself there. He pulled himself up, grabbed onto the devotee's feet, and pulled himself out of there. That's what we're all doing. And if you really have a hard time getting your head around that, how can mantra be more transformative than anything? How can sound really transform? We do this thing in teacher training where we sit with a partner and we share what we appreciate about people in the training. So we'll say something like, oh, Nancy Rothman, she's such a wonderful lady. She's such a deep thinker. She's so kind. And then the other person will say like in one sentence or two sentences, and the other person will just pick another person. So you have a partner, you're going back and forth. Oh, David Charles Wilson. This guy is a dedicated, surrendered soul, focused on Lord Vishnu, always wants to serve. And then I'll go back. Oh, yeah. And then I'll pick somebody else. Lori Pag, dedicated yogi, teacher, mother. And you just go back and forth like that for about 3 minutes. And after you're done, you feel elated. You feel light, happy, empowered, connected, spiritually blissful. Because when you're finding good in people, when you appreciate people, or you appreciate nature, or you appreciate God, this type of energy coming out of the mouth is different than these two other things that people generally embrace. And if you really want to radically change your day today, don't blame anybody. Don't blame the situation that life has given you, and don't criticize people. These two things, blaming and criticism, rid them from your life, and you will change your life instantly. If you feel like you need a change, blame and criticism, wipe them out. Don't even go there. Take full responsibility. Catch your tongue. You'll catch your mind in the process, and you will radically change your life. The sound vibration is what would you call it?
Crucial.
It's crucial. It's crucial to transformation.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing the Bhagavatam every day. It's transformational.
Well, speaking of Bhagavatam, this is what Prabhupada writes in the commentary to this verse. He says, here in the Bhagavatam, in this verse particularly, it is stressed that people who try to discuss and understand the real spiritual nature of the spiritual sky and the Vaikunthas are fortunate. The variegatedness of the Vaikuntha planets is described in relation to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. But instead of trying to understand the spiritual abode and the spiritual activities of the Lord, people are more interested in politics and economic developments. They hold many conventions, meetings, and discussions to solve the problems of this worldly situation where they can remain only for a few years, but they're not interested in understanding the spiritual situation in the Vaikuntha world. If they are at all fortunate, they become interested in going back home, back to Godhead, but unless they understand the spiritual world, and this is important, unless they understand the spiritual world and those principles that we're talking about, right? Then they rot in this material darkness continuously. You know, and just like you were saying, or just like Dustin was just saying, like, you know, he was at one point in his life, he's like, nobody can tell me what to do. I'll do whatever I want, you know. But it's kind of like we say, it's like when you have that IKEA manual and like, I don't need this manual. I'll just build this thing any way I want. And you get stuck, right? And so the manual is there, and the manual is just kind of, you know, it's a beautiful manual. It's a manual about harmony. You know, it's a manual about caring about one another, about respecting all life, you know, about respecting the source of all that life. And then ultimately
The
we can
rule
connect
that
with
enhances, the rules that enhance your freedom.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away your freedom.
Right. But if we ignore them, if we reject them, and we become prone to do that when we're just feeding all of the, you know, bizarre information of this world, you know, we're again, it's the reflection, right? So the same stuff's going on, but it's upside down. Instead of all serving together harmoniously, the root, we're all trying to break free from that root, and acting through selfishness. Then we just hurt one another, and that's kind of what the material world is all about.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, whenever there isn't that positive, uplifting, transcendental vibration, it leaves a big gaping door open for fear, anxiety, depression, anger. They just step right in. When you're not using your, it's interesting, when you're not using your sound vibration for those things, it was the theme of my whole reading. I was reading from a chapter of my book of doing Dandavat Parikram. You know, that's where you bow down, get up, bow down, get up, bow down, get up around a holy place or holy thing or holy temple in India. So first time I did that, I was very, very mental about it. Wasn't mental at first until I started doing it. I was like, what am I doing? Bowing down, getting up, bowing down, getting up. And there's like kids riding by on bicycles, almost like cutting off my fingers, like recklessly. And there's just like crazy. There's like a hog in the street and a big monkey sitting there and a dog. And I was thinking, am I going to get sick? Am I going to get emphysema? So first of all, I have these mantras of I'm ecstatic. I'm in a holy place. You know, I'm in the dust of the feet of these great souls. The beautiful Radhakund, the morning sun. These were my mantras. They were uplifting. They were filled with enthusiasm. And then it went right to, I'm going to get emphysema. I'm going to get tuberculosis. Who are these animals? This animal's dirty. What do you say? I'm going to get elephantitis, leprosy, all these. And those are the mantras. And they bring fear and anxiety and like repulsion. And finally I had a breakthrough. And that breakthrough is you start to really look under the surface. This monkey is a transcendental being. He's not a monkey. This is his last life. He's more in this game than I am on the journey home. And then I started running after this monkey to try to get his dust of his lotus feet.
No, you didn't.
I practically tackled a young goat to put that hoof right on my forehead.
That's an embellishment there, Raghu. I can sniff out your embellishments. Right
No, it was not, man. I went after the goat and the goat herder. I got the young boy's foot
now
too.
You're going further still. You see,
I danced with the lady with leprosy.
You're doubling down.
It was a transcendental experience, but the point is, you either accept and look beyond and see something much, much greater in these people, or what happens is enter fear, enter depression, enter anxiety. It's all there. You want to get rid of anxiety? Sit there and read the Hanuman Chalis. You read the Vishnu
Chalisa.
Sahasranam, the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Depression, fear, they melt away.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, it works.
Look at Mara. Look how blissful she is.
There you go. All right. Next text.
Next text. 23.
We just did 23.
24. Lord Brahma said, "My dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance that we also desire to have such life. For in the human form, one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one in this form of life does not understand the personality of Godhead in his abode, it is to be understood that he is very much affected by the influence of external nature." So this is a massive problem, because this is the doorway to either upgrade or degrade. This is the revolving door. Where am I going to get off? And it's apparent from the Vedic text that animals really have no choice in the matter. They're lacking some free will. They act on instinct. If I punch a tiger in the nose, that tiger's going to bite me. The tiger's not going to think, "Oh, Rango's having a hard day today. I'm going to back off. I'm going to let him just deal with his stuff." Tiger just bites. I slap the tiger, he bites. Animals are acting on instinct. And the demigods, they have so much incredible, joy. They're living in these ivory towers, so they can't fully experience pain. So there's no impetus to really change their life. But in the human species, we're experiencing it both. Great pleasure, great pain, great gain, great loss. Is that a correct analysis, Kaustubha? Would you agree
I'm with
that?
you. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why. So it's interesting, right? Because Brahma, he's got a far superior setup than the humans, earthly beings.
Sure.
It's a much longer life, much better body, much better circumstance. But he's recognizing that this human life that we have is such a rare opportunity. And just don't screw it up. It's just his perspective. We're getting his perspective, right? That when someone gets right in that position, then they really have the opportunity to kind of look at both sides and experience something of both sides, and plug in, right? Like that's really the like the entryway. So therefore, it becomes so important how you use that opportunity.
Sometimes in great destitution or such tragedy, people can't really get focused on their spiritual life. They're just trying for survival. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people who have too much, where it's overwhelming good karma on this planet, it almost their opulence is so high that the opportunity is so high that they can't get focused on their spiritual life either.
Right.
Most of us are luckily somewhere in the middle. We experience pain and we experience some happiness and some joy and some loss. And it's in that middleness that there's opportunities to observe both sides. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying.
It's hard, if people are really, really struggling in this world. It sometimes deters them on their spiritual path, and vice versa. The great fortune can really deter a person too.
So this is all coming in the context, again, of we're hearing a description of the spiritual realm and the principles that operate there. And it's saying that when we're in the material, when you're in the virtual reality, you can either totally absorb your mind in virtual stuff, or you could absorb your mind in reality. That which is beyond the virtual world that you're stuck in. And it's saying if you bring your mind to that, and it's very beautiful, right? And it brings harmony, and it brings peace, and it brings happiness, and so on. Then you begin to qualify yourself to step into the reality. Otherwise, as it's being said here, it's to be understood that one is very much affected by the influence of the external energy. You're being very influenced by the virtual reality instead of reality.
The external nature.
Now text 25, it begins to talk about those who are qualified to walk back into the reality. But it's interesting, right? Because it's not going to, although like so much of the yoga literature talks about like attaining a certain type of evenness, right? What this verse is saying is one who's actually experiencing deep spiritual emotions, that they become qualified to walk back into the reality, right? The evenness that we practice in yoga is so that we can have a mind that's peaceful enough to become deeply absorbed in spiritual content, and when in that spiritual content, it melts your heart. Right? That's the point. The heart's got to melt, and then you're ready to step back. Well, you can't step into the reality with a hard heart.
That's nice, because when we talk about this evenness, the samadhi, to me, truthfully, it always sounded like, that's boring. I'm Mr. Even, like Mr. Spock from Star Trek. I don't want to be that. But what happens is you need that evenness to understand that the material world is that illusion, that external energy is that matrix. And then from there is a deeper type of joy, a deeper type of ecstasy, a deeper type of excitement and bliss. But you got to step through that threshold first. And this is where they're at right now. Persons whose bodily features change in ecstasy and who breathe heavily and perspire due to hearing the glories of the Lord. That's really serious. They breathe heavily and perspire due to hearing the glories of the Lord are promoted to the kingdom of God, even though they do not care for meditation and other austerities. The kingdom of God is above the material universes, and it's desired by Brahma and other demigods.
Yeah, so, it's important, even though they do not care for meditation and other austerities. In other words, it's not the meditation and the austerities are means to an end, right?
Nice way to put it.
And that end is that one's heart melts, right? But if your heart is already melted, and that could happen just directly by hearing Bhagavatam, well, then you don't need, you may not even have the qualification, like meditation and austerities, you got to be qualified for that. Most people can't do it. Most of us are really inept at it.
There are people that love austerities. I've heard, like we got that letter the other day in the Q&A. So like, I really love Vipassana, where you stop speaking. Zeb, who's listening on the Zoomer, he's like one of these natural born like Tyagis. He's like loves renunciation. And it's one of those things that some people are attracted to it. Most aren't.
But even in this day and age, the people that are still generally very weak compared to the standard that's required to transcend this world.
Yeah, Zeb.
Not trying to put Zeb down or anything.
Who do you think you are, Zeb?
But the idea is that if we can take in Bhagavatam, if we can take in meditation on Krishna's names, kirtan especially, right?
Yeah.
The mind can become absorbed, and the heart can become melted. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in this commentary. But in the commentary, Srila Prabhupada gets into like the chanting of Krishna's names. Because when we hear about these bodily changes, like in the Shikshastakam, the 6 prayers, the 8 prayers, written by Sri Chaitanya, it's really like going into these are 8 prayers that really kind of describe the whole progress of the spiritual path of bhakti, but all in the context of chanting these names and how it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, right? And one of them is he prays, "My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice falter and the hairs of my body stand erect in transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name?" Right? So it's describing physical symptoms, right? That when I chant this name, I become, the waves of ecstasy start to wash over my body. And without, involuntarily, my eyes just become full of tears. And I can't even, speak. My voice falters. I can't even, it's so powerful. I can't even quite speak, clearly. And I have these goosebumps, right? The hairs of my body are standing on end. I just get, get chills and goosebumps and so on. Like that's that name is non-different from God. And when you chant it in the right state, then you naturally feel these symptoms. So when will that, often that prayer is there, like, when will that day come? The different great teachers and songwriters in the Bhakti tradition, often they pray like that, like, right, when will that day come? when I'm feeling those symptoms. But the idea is that there's like when one is initiated into this lineage, right, of Bhakti Yoga lineage, and particularly the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, the guru is giving the mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, the Maha Mantra, to the student. But not just giving the mantra, but also giving the lifestyle and the practices that are going to enable the student to benefit fully from that mantra. Right? It's like a doctor, you know, a good doctor, you know, it's like they don't just give you the medicine, but they also give you like the diet that you need.
Yeah.
You know, and the lifestyle that you need. You need to go to sleep early. You need to eat these foods and not eat these foods, and so on and so forth. And then this medicine is going to become effective, right? And
Ayurvedic doctor will say that. Not
yeah, I know.
No, you're never going to the regular doctor and they're saying you should stop eating this and start eating that. You don't hear that so much.
I mean, sometimes you do, but in Ayurveda, it's all about that, right? There's such a clear understanding of how these things are related. So yeah, especially with an Ayurvedic doctor, it's going to be like, you know,
what time are you going to bed? Yeah, you never hear that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because, you know, my wife, cause she went through, you know, different health issues some years back, and so she really had to kind of like embrace the you know, Ayurvedic instructions, and she really learned a lot from it. Now she, you know, I see she's really got like a knack for understanding it now. And so, you know, like Ayurvedic doctors, they'll tell you things like, I'll, you know, like someone will come to them in a desperate situation and they'll say, well, I'll take you on as a patient and help you through this, but only if you're willing to do this, right? Like only if you're willing to start going to sleep early. Because if you don't, and you maintain the lifestyle you have, it's not going to make any difference what I do for you, you know?
Yeah.
Only if you're willing to like stop eating this and start eating this, because otherwise I can give you all the medicine in the world. It's not going to make any difference. But most people aren't willing to make those changes in their lives, or we're stuck in lifestyles where it's very difficult to do that. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you were at a natural pause, but you were swallowing.
No, well, I was going to move on, but go ahead.
Well, I wanted to go on from this verse because you made this good point about, you know, they can't do the meditation necessarily. They can't do the austerities necessarily. But what happens? What is it that triggers them? You know, and Rupa Goswami writes in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu how there's 5 potent items of bhakti.
Right.
And these potent items, they give the neophyte, the newbie, the one who doesn't really even quite get it, they give them the taste of what it's like to be a liberated soul. They get a little glimpse. And I think even Dustin can say he was affected by such things. And it's really the 5 are Mara.
Okay, hot seat.
Hot seat Mara.
Oh. Is this giving and receiving gifts?
No.
Sharing and listening? No,
Mute yourself again, Mara. Mute yourself again.
No, that was good stuff she's coming up with, but it's just a different thing.
There's so many different lists of bhakti.
You know, bhakti's all about lists.
Yeah.
It's like the 5 this, the 4 this, the 3 of this. But there's the ones kirtan. Like you can go to a kirtan. It could be your first kirtan. Someone could drag you to a kirtan, and it's like something happened to me. Something happened. I bet a lot of people here have been affected by kirtan.
I got it, Raghu. Sorry.
What's that?
Is it Nam Dam Bhagavatam? Deity and devotees?
Yeah.
Yeah. She just needed a little clue. You should have given her a little hint, Raghu.
Yeah, I went too quick to mute yourself.
That's right. That was heavy. Mute yourself.
Maybe you should get that tattoo on your back, Mara.
You mute yourself.
Nam Dam Bhagavatam. So yeah, the Dam is the second. The Nam is the first. The second, the Dam, going to a holy place. Maybe that happened to Dustin. You go there and something happens. I know Cabrera G, who comes on the show a lot, a regular Zoomer and other. She came to the Dam once and she just melted in the Dam. It happens to people. Lori Pag, they melt in the Dam. Tom Essig, the guy just came to the Dam. He just like shaved off all his. He just got dragged there by his wife, but he just had a breakthrough the first day. Took his bath in the Ganga, shaved his head. He was like he never came back from that. He's still there practically. it's like, so the Dham is such a powerful place, the holy place. It's like a spiritual vortex to another land. The Bhagavatam, hearing the Bhagavatam on a regular basis, but even once, can change a person in such a deep way, affect the person so deeply, change the trajectory of their life. Nam, the holy name, the chanting of the holy name. That's different than kirtan? Nam Dham Bhagavatam.
Nam Dham Bhagavatam.
Is the kirtan and the nam the different? Seeing the deity is one. Seeing the deity.
Yeah, the deity and associating with devotees.
Associating with devotees, yeah. So here we are associating with devotees. Right now, we're doing it. And then, of course, sometimes people don't get the deity and they think, oh, this is peculiar. Sometimes people see the deity and go, oh my God. And they lose their material mind on the spot. It has that effect. So these are like powerful, like it's sort of like triple coupon day where you're not expecting to, just, whoa, what happened? And it's like something that explodes in your life and it changes you. And these are sort of set up as spiritual landmines that we step on. It blows off our material body.
That's one way to say it.
We're left with just our spiritual body.
Yeah, so we've gone through this before on the show, but in one sense we can sum this up like this kind of the path in 4 different points. The first point is that happiness through loving service is our true nature, right? That's what we're trying to restore. That's what we're trying to uncover. The heart's got to melt to get back to that, right? But false ideas impressed within our minds are the cause of our losing touch with our true nature and seeking happiness externally. And that's what the earlier verses were speaking about, right? You become completely, by hearing the wrong subject matters, by becoming absorbed in just the things of this world, not exposing ourselves to hearing things of the spiritual realm, of spiritual truths, then we just get lost in it, and our mind becomes impressed with all these false ideas. What's going to make me happy, what's not going to make me happy, etc. And then the third point is the transformative practices of Bhakti-yoga are designed to purify the mind through contact with powerful sources of spiritual energy. And you just mentioned like the big 5, right? Nam, Dham, Bhagavatam, deity, and devotees. Like those are, if you absorb your mind in those, then you transform. The heart melts, you transform. The problem is it's hard for us to absorb the mind, right? We might think these are great, but that's why you mentioned like it's a fact. Like a lot of times when we take people to India, there is a powerful transformation because you've left your other world behind, at least for some time, at least for a few weeks or so. And you step into a new world where even that place is powerfully transformative. But because you've kind of like left everything else behind and the new world that you stepped into is like so absorbing, your mind gets deeply absorbed in it. Whereas at home, it might be harder to get deeply absorbed. You're always distracted. You always turn to the computer. You're always dealing with some issue, but when you can get deeply absorbed, it really becomes transformational. But it's hard for us to do that. So what do we need to stay absorbed? What do we need so that the steady flow of that transformative energy, keeps flowing? And that requires the right conceptions and the right sentiments and the right lifestyle. And, right lifestyle has so much to do with how we treat others and, how we respect others and, how we move through this world, respectfully, especially,
You know what I've noticed about this young boy, Krishna? He's always trying to upsell us. It's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm listening to the wisdom of the sages. And then I was like, Krishna's like, yeah, you should try something else too. You should try some like listen to Sweet Baby Krishna in the evening. And then you're like, okay, I'll do that. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you should chant during the course of the day. Okay, I'll do that. Hey, you should offer your food to Krishna. Offer your food to me. It's like it never ends, Krishna. What do you want?
He wants your heart.
He wants your whole life. Thing. He wants your whole life. He wants you full in. It starts off with like, I like incense. I'm gonna buy incense. You got to offer that incense. Krishna's got you in like the funnel system. It's like marketing. He's like funneling you in until he owns you and you own him. That's the game he's playing with us. He's tricky boy. It's tricky. Time. That went fast.
Any takeaways, Mary?
Yeah. Sound vibration is the most transformative. Mantras can bind us or give us peace.
Give us
wipe out blame and criticism to change your life. Accept and look beyond to keep out depression, anxiety, and fear.
Okay.
You can't step into reality with a hard heart.
And what was
Likey.
What was that last one that you just said? You just said something right now. I thought it was a good one. I forgot already.
Me? I said.
Yeah,
Christian,
right
sweet. That naughty boy Christian is always trying to upsell us.
Yeah, but you wrapped it up with some statement right at the end, but it slipped my mind. I should have noted it down.
It was just flowing out. I don't know.
Yeah,
Can't remember.
flowing. You just
I don't
flow.
even know what I'm saying. Anyway, want to thank everybody for being on the show. I want to thank Jai Yoga School, Dustin, Dead President's Lounge. If you're in the capital region, that's upstate, go visit Jai Yoga School. Great yoga school, great teachers, great people.
Looks like a nice place.
It's a great place, and they're
beautiful.
all bhakti. They're all bhakti. It's like a leading yoga school up here. And Dead President's Lounge, if you want a transcendental ink. Scott Bakos is one of our tattoos. We got a lot of tattoos, and of course Dustin Haran, incredible. Thanks for being on the show. If you're in the Boston area or the Western Mass or Rhode Island, I'm going to be at the Boston Yoga Union for both like a Vedic path and a flight school. Or you take them both. Go to the Boston Yoga Union website to register for that. Looking forward to seeing everybody. Picnic time is coming up. Wisdom of the Sages, 108@gmail.com. Put picnic in the subject line, and you will get the secret treasure map to find us in Central Park.
And sign up for the Sage page. Go to wisdomofsages.com.
Yes.
Get it every week.
Get that Sage page, be part of our mailing list, and then we'll have special giveaways. Win a vegan meatball package sent directly to your house by Mara's loving hands. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Talk to Justin. Are you ready to do what you do best? Come on!